There's a lot of mystery and mythology associated with groundwater, so rather than trying to describe or draw the concepts on a whiteboard, let's take a look underground. What you see here is an aquifer model as if we took a cake knife and sliced it vertically through the Earth's crust. These particular cake layers approximate what one would encounter in the vicinity of Boone's Ferry near Wilsonville. The different layers include the sand and gravel alluvium associated with the Missoula floods and Willamette River. Underlying this veneer of alluvium is older sand, clay, and sandstone. This package of sediments overlies the fractured rock aquifer, which serves as the prolific aquifer in the Willamette Valley and across Oregon. The Columbia River basalt is found north of Corvallis. The water-bearing fractures are easy to identify due to iron staining on the fracture planes. There are between 250,000 to 300,000 wells in the state of Oregon of various depths. Domestic wells are typically paired with a septic tank. Many wells and septic tanks are located near water bodies like lakes. Deep wells can be artesian and flow naturally at the ground surface. As we will see a little later, if the aquifer tapped by the deep wells is contaminated, the well can serve as a conduit for contaminant transport. Aquifers are recharged in the recharge area, which is located along the eastern margin of the Willamette Valley and circulates to a regional hydraulic sink like the Willamette River, which serves as the discharge area. Hydrogeologists can map the direction of groundwater flow and hydraulic gradient as shown using the orange-colored cord through the elevations of springs, water levels in wells, lakes, and rivers. I know there may be some skeptics out there, so one way hydrogeologists confirm the direction of groundwater circulation is through the use of tracers. Pollution can be used as a tracer. We will simulate tracing groundwater flow through septic tank discharge to the shallow groundwater system. The red dye represents a deposit in a septic tank which is followed with a flush. Note the red dye discharging along the leach field. Some of the leachate eventually makes it to the lakes and streams, and the residual nitrogen and phosphate can contribute to algal blooms. There are millions of buried gasoline tanks across the U.S. The tanks were buried to prevent fire hazards. While there are requirements to regularly test underground storage tanks for leaks, there is no such thing as a perfectly leak-free tank. Spills around the filling tube and leaks from piping and corroded tanks also contribute to groundwater pollution. Revisiting the hydraulic gradient, we observe the pollution does indeed move down gradient. The groundwater moving through the pore spaces between sand grains is called diffuse flow. Permitted deep injection wells are used for disposal of frac sand fluids, chemical waste, and nuclear waste. If the wastes are indeed injected into wells tapping fractured rock aquifers, the contaminants move through conduit flow. Out of sight does not necessarily mean out of mind, as groundwater under conduit flow conditions moves rapidly and across large areas. Uncontrolled deep artesian wells can serve as conduits for the contaminated groundwater to the ground surface and discharged into waterways. There you have it, 40 years of study and experience wrapped up in less than 5 minutes.